out the virtual background today, just for a change. So what you see behind me is a small selection of our books, but most of the books behind there are actually books that I've studied in order to eventually become a minister, practitioner, then minister. So there's like 5+ years of books there. So there's a lot. But I've read the books, and the other stuff you see out there with the white backs, they are courses I've either taken or taught. Most of them I've actually helped to teach or taught. So there you are. So that's me. I thought I'd just be honest for once here. This is what my office kind of looks like. Yeah, a lot of software over to one side that I need to get rid of. So over on this, no, on that side, over on that side, there's a lot of software that I need to get rid of. So if anybody knows how to get rid of software in a really constructive way that doesn't damage the environment, or maybe that even, people could use, you could sell. There it is. Lots and lots of old software, Microsoft, Apple, all sorts of stuff there. So there we are. Anyway, let's get on with the reading today. Once again, it's by Reverend Dr. Michelle Medrano, henceforth Reverend Michelle. Today's title is Let the Love Flow. First quote is from Rumi. He says, "Your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within you that you have built against it." Your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within you that you have built to prevent it or against it. Rumi. And Ernest Holmes, kind of in a more general way, says, life exists in its fullness at the center of our being. If it were never blocked, it would always flow through us as life, love, harmony, happiness, and success. And that's from This Thing Called Life, and it's on page 101, paragraph 3, at least in the edition that Reverend Michelle has. There is a problem that we all face when we quote references from books, because when they're republished, you never know which edition people have. Often the publishers try to keep to the pages, but sometimes they don't. Today's reading is really good. It's uplifting. And then I've got a few comments of my own afterwards, which kind of underpin it. Nothing against it, underpin it. Question Reverend Michelle asks is, can we love ourselves from the inside out? This question arises in me as I watch myself continue to look for external reasons to reward myself with love and support, or punish myself with the giving or withholding of love. All the while, the infinite creator pours itself through me. It is love. It is divine. It is all-encompassing. It's generous and it's profound love. When I realize this, I see how much energy I expend to hold it back. I attempt to hold it back with my ideas about myself that are not in alignment with the love that the divine is. I think less of myself, or I attempt to reward myself to receive the love that flows to me and through me. Each day, a part of my spiritual practice is to take time to close my eyes, shut the world out, and feel the love that seeks fulfillment through me. To my astonishment, Rumi is correct. Any lack of love is most often a barrier to it that I built and nurtured in some way. Well, since I'm the one who built it, I am the only one who can dismantle it. This dismantling is done by making choices each day and by allowing my heart full of love to fill and fulfill me each day. This habit and practice begin to open the channels of love that flow through me consciously. All right, Reverend Michelle. So that is all correct, but it's easier said than done. And it goes to what Reverend Michelle was saying, and that is to spend some quiet time each day, but also to read uplifting material that builds you up and doesn't bring you down. One thing my wife does is she watches lots of fun videos on wherever, YouTube, wherever, WhatsApp, wherever it is that she pulls it up from, like of animals or people being funny or kind to others, things that make her laugh, good things that make her laugh. So we need to surround ourselves, I think. Let me rephrase that. When we surround ourselves with people who support us, when we engage in activities that bring out fulfillment in ourselves and others, when we read good stuff, when we listen to good stuff, then this acts as a way of getting rid of what's inside that doesn't support us anymore. Now, I don't know if Reverend Michelle is going to talk about this in the future, but one thing I want to emphasize is this. A lot of what she's talking about is not our fault. It's not our fault in the sense that a lot of it we did not put there in the first place. It was put there by other people. And when we're little kids, when we're small, when we're infants, when we're growing, we don't have the filters to know what is really helpful and what is harmful. So we absorb a lot of stuff that isn't helpful. So a lot of the stuff that's in there, which she's talking about, which is not advancing love, we didn't consciously choose to put there. It ended up in our subconscious minds from the environment, and often indirectly, and from people who are really good meaning, but ended up not doing things that supported us. And it could have come from parents, siblings, teachers, authority figures, anybody. And especially before we're able to make any sense of it and decide, no, that's not correct. One thing I heard as a kid, and I'm sure most of you did, is children should be seen and not heard. In other words, hey, get away. This is an adult's world. We don't want to hear from you. No, children need to be heard, but they need to be heard within the right context. So you don't just let them go off and speak all the time, but by the same token, you don't shut them up when it's really more appropriate to let them speak. So that's one small example. The nuns, who I irreverently call the Sisters of No Compassion, were well-meaning in their own minds. They thought what they were doing was going to be for our good. But our good actually might have been interpreted as becoming really good Catholics and not anything else outside of that. And same thing with the priests who taught me from 11 till when I left school, whom I call the Fathers of Divine Retribution. Most of them were well-meaning. They had been taught and they were doing what they thought would bring up a responsible adult, but oftentimes some of the stuff they taught was just not correct. And the same with our parents. It just wasn't always correct. So my whole point in this is that it's not entirely our fault. When we became of age to realize, then we could start doing something about it. And now listening to material like this means that we can go back and examine what's there, and what we don't like, we can overwrite with stuff that is good. So, hey, that's my message for today. So it's not all your fault. It's not all my fault. It's not all Reverend Michelle's fault. So our job is to do good stuff like she's talking about and override the stuff that doesn't support us. So that is my message for today. I am the love that God is, and I let it move through me, in me, as me. I am the love that God is, and I let it move through me, in me, as me. And that's the affirmation. But as I said, if you don't like the affirmations that we're offering you, pick your own. So My colleague, Reverend Lisa Ryan, will be on tomorrow morning at about 9:15 Central Time, USA, Canada, or Mexico, wherever. And I'll be back tomorrow evening, hopefully around about 5 p.m., same time zone. So wherever you are in the world, I've been dealing in different time zones the last few days, so sometimes it gets a little bit confusing. So anyway, until next time, please take care of yourselves. It's really, really important. And in this kind of weather, wherever you, if you're in weather like we have right now, which is typical for us in the summer, although we're more used to it, we still need to be careful. And you need to be careful with your pets, and especially with people who you know who may be shut-ins and need checking up on. So until next time, namaste.